Hello and welcome to the show. I am back on Forza Horizon 3 making another hill climb monster. Today we are giving a Japanese car a chance. You see, there isn't a single Japanese car in the top 10 of this series anymore, so it is going to fall to the Nissan 240SX to try and make its way into that top 10. Is it going to be doable? I am not sure on this car. Now, we do have the possibility we will be using the Liberty Buddy body kit. Now, this gives us the option to run much wider tyres on the car, and that is going to be useful in terms of grip. So we have that going for it. We do also have a relatively low starting PI, which means potentially we can get a lot of parts into the vehicle. It's also relatively light to begin with. We will come back to engine swaps. We will see what we might be able to get PI-wise. Now, we are going to want snow tyres, of course, and that bumps the PI. It's to the top of B class, but it is only to the top of B class, although tyre widths will put it into A. 275s at the front is very nice, 305s at the rear also, so lovely big tyres on our Nissan. In fact, the wheel kind of arches look a little bit too large for the... never mind. Yeah, it's a bit of an odd body kit on this one. I'm not sure I'm a massive fan of it, but there we go. We need the extra tyre width size, so we have to go with it. Our next port of call is going to be brakes and suspension. I'm hoping... yeah, it's not massive amount of ride height, even with the rally suspension, the off-road suspension on the car. I had hoped it might be a little bit higher on this. I can't do very much about it, though. We're going to have to live with it. That is the downside, of course, of having the car. I think the body kit, possibly for this one, restricts the... right, it certainly makes the car a lot lower to begin with. I don't know whether it makes a huge amount of difference when we put the rally springs on and so on, but yeah. Now, weight reduction is a thing that we might contemplate doing. At the moment, I think we're going to look at power. Let's go put aero on as well. Now, we can't put on a front splitter. That is one of the downsides of running the wide body kits, but the extra tyre widths do negate any downsides of lacking the front aero. We can have the amazing shark fin rear wings. However, we're not going to. As much as I would run these for the sake of silliness, I actually want downforce. So we're going for the proper rear wing. Engines, what have we got in the way of swap? Oh, wow. Bloody hell, that's a lot of swaps. That might be the most swaps I've ever seen for a car. We could have the standard engine. We could have a 2-litre inline-4. We could have a 2-litre i4 turbo. I mean, that's a Integra engine, I think. I don't know what that's from. Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. The turbo rally engine is here. Bloody hell, turbo rally engine puts us up into S1 class. 3.2-litre i6. 2.6-litre i6 twin turbo, 6.2-litre V8, the 3.8-litre V6 twin turbo. That's the Skyline engine, I believe, isn't it? Not the Skyline, the GTR engine. Or we can have a quad rotor. Bloody hell. Okay, that's a lot of engines with this car. I mean, I'm spoilt for choice. I'm tempted by a lot of things. Okay, we do have to try and get the standard engine to work, if it can. That is the rules for this. I'm not holding out a huge amount of hope with the way that Forza tends to work with car standard engines. We will try it, but yeah, I don't suspect that this is going to get me to the top of the class. If we just stick in camshafts and a whacking great big turbo, I mean, 300 horsepower is a fair amount of power in a car. However, we have, at the end of the day, got a lot more powerful options, and it's not going to do it. There's no way this is going to do it. So we can forget the standard engine. Just in case, sometimes, some of the cars, some standard engines do get a fair bit of power. It's not going to be the case with this one. Right, with our plethora of engines to choose from, do we go... I mean, okay, we can take the quad rotor out. Unfortunately, as much as I like the quad rotor, we're not going to be running that, as it doesn't give us any more PI to play around with after the engine, and we can't... the engine just has restrictors to take off. So it's kind of, do we go for the V6? Do we go for the V8? The V8 is slightly lighter, of course less powerful, but there is more PI to play with than with the V6. Do we go for one of the i6s that are both... certainly the 3.2 litre is far lighter than the other options. However, that's twin-turboed, as is the V6. Oh, God, this is a tough call. This is a really tough call with this engine. I think we're going to go with a 3.8 litre twin-turbo V6. I think we're going to go with the GTR engine. As much as I'm tempted by the quad rotor, I know it's not going to work. So we are going to go with the GTR engine. We are going to have a look at a little bit of weight reduction, if we can. Because the engine has now got plenty of power in it. Let's go actually put a diff in it while we are here. We will come back to things like gearbox and clutch and so on when we're finished. I would like some weight reduction in this car as it stands. Ooh, okay. I'm liking the look of that. Because as it stands at 500 horsepower and 3,300 pounds, that's not exactly a great power to weight ratio, but we can get it down to 2,900. I'm okay with that. I think we're going to go down that path with our Nissan and then just try and get in what power we can here. If we can get it up to 600 horsepower, I think we'll be looking pretty good, actually, because we've got similar sort of power to the Countach, and we've got much, much bigger front tyres. We've got much better turning, I would hope, than that Countach, potentially, in this. In fact, we are up to 606 horsepower, 521 at torque, 2,850 pounds. If this has got enough grip, then there is serious potential for this Nissan to be very, very quick indeed. I will put in gearbox and clutch and drive. I can't get driveline in. Okay, not driveline. Diff is in. Shall we have a look just in case we can sneak a flywheel on? I doubt it. Oh, I said I doubted it. However, we can sneak a flywheel on. Can we get any more power? No, they're going to have PI, unfortunately. Again, it's always worth checking just in case. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good power, pretty good torque, not too much weight, and some massive tyres on our Nissan. There is definite speed potential with this car. So, we have brought our car to the Devil's Corners hill climb, where it is going to get 3 attempts to go, well, faster than the Dodge Charger. That is currently our 10th place car, and if we're looking to get a Japanese car in the top 10, we have got to go quicker than a 158.5. The leader is the BMW 507 with a 155.9. Now, challenging that BMW, I think, will be difficult for the Nissan. However, I do think it is very plausible that we can see this car into the top 10. We've just got to have some grip. We've got to be able to carry quarter speed. It is all going to be about the momentum with this car. The acceleration should be pretty decent. We shouldn't have too many problems. Well, I say we shouldn't have too many problems with the acceleration. We shouldn't be god-awful in a straight line, basically, but we're not going to be faster than, the BMW. Some of these cars have had 800 horsepower and weighed about 2,600 pounds, so we've not got that brutal power to weight ratio in here. However, where we're going to make up for it, I'm hoping, is through the corners, and so far I am liking the 240. It is driving, well, very nicely indeed. I copped up that corner completely, so that's my bad. That's my bad around there. We're a little bit down in terms of my driving speed. 115 miles an hour. Good under braking as well, which is nice. Just the faintest hint of oversteer as we jump on the power. Now, how fast can we take off from this ramp? Yeah, it's only 98 miles an hour. It's not the quickest that we have ever seen around this course. But again, much like we had with the F-Type, it's going to have to be try and make up speed in the corners where you can. I mean, let's face it, this has got about the same power as the F-Type, but is considerably lighter. So with a better run and a bit better driving from me, better exit out of these corners, we should, at least, certainly in theory, be going quicker than that F-Type. It's been a little bit of a scruffy run, and I do not expect the Nissan to like this part of the course. We might get, in fact, we have got in a lot of trouble down the bumps. The car is so low to the ground that it is, not ideal. I mean, a lot of these cars, most of the cars even that have got up this course, are not exactly suited to rallying, but this thing is extra specially ground hugging, it seems, as we round that final corner. I was expecting a little bit better. I know there was definitely scruffy in places from me. I was expecting a little bit more in terms of speed. I'm surprised by that, actually. We have got a lot of work to do if we want to get into the top 10. Well, there is much time to be found. I'm not quite sure where we are going to find it. However, I am going to do my utmost to make it. I was out of position in a couple of corners, and there was a bit of poor driving from me in places. But 3 seconds is a lot of time to try and make up over what is a relatively short hill climb stage. It's quite a nice handling car, quite a nice balanced car. I might have to try and just be a bit braver, really, with the vehicle, really throw it at some of these corners and hope that we have got grip in it, because that might be the only way that we are going to be making stage speed in the car. Now, we can, I would hope, really chuck the car into here, get it turned. That is much better this time round. Although as I try and get on the power, we do just drift out a little bit wide on the exit. We get away with it, though, as we run down this back straight. We're looking at, it wasn't actually quite as quick down the back straight as we were last time around. Not quite sure gear we want to be in. Don't really want to be in either of them at that moment in time, but there we go. Right, 100 miles an hour across the jump. We've got a better exit out of that corner. Chuck it into the hairpin. We go. Try and get that front end turned and accelerated away. It's lacking something. This is one of those odd cars. This feels pretty quick, and statistically speaking, it should be very fast. I would expect, at least. Again, not expecting it to challenge the BMW, but statistically speaking, it looks pretty solid, and I'm not sure quite what we are lacking in this. That was my bad for being out too wide ever so slightly. Okay, icy straight. We've got to try and keep off these bumps as best as we can. Get the front end turned as we leave the icy straight. It's not too bad. It's up to, almost 100 miles an hour across that jump there. We are a little bit too early on the brakes into the penultimate corner, and now I'm trying to straighten it up for the final turn as much as we can. It's better. We found a couple of seconds. We're into a 59.7. But we've still got a fair way to go. We need another second out of it. A second and a bit, in fact, out of it to go close to that charger. Oh, I don't know where I'm going to find that. This is a slight turn up for the books in some ways. Well, it is the final run for our 240SX. Now, I have found a second before. It's a fairly common goal I have when we head into these final runs. Although quite where I'm going to find it, I don't know. Sometimes I have good ideas, sometimes I just magically manage to find time on these third runs. But that last run felt pretty good. It felt pretty fast, and it felt close to what the car is ultimately capable of. Yeah, again, there was a couple of places where perhaps I was a little bit wide. Not sure it's a second worth of out of positionness, but we will see. I think I've actually done a much better job on this first part of the course. Little bit of an oversteering moment there as we now head up towards this double apexed corner. There we go. That's nice. That's very nice through there, although we get quite a bit of understeer mid-turn that I wasn't expecting. To kind of open the steering, trying to carry speed on the exit, because we're not the fastest down this straight. It's only 113 miles an hour this time around as we fight the car slightly on the exit. There's bumps out wide there, so you don't want to be too wide on the exit. Again, it's 100 miles an hour across the jump, still 10 miles an hour down on some cars. Up to the hairpin we go. I don't know. It's just struggling through that mid-sector. It doesn't feel like it should be particularly. There's a little bit of understeer and then a little bit of oversteer all at the same time, which is a slightly peculiar thing. We kind of have understeer on turn-in and then sometimes on power oversteer, which is not necessarily ideal. I think we are slightly quicker this time around. Now we're trying to keep off the ice and the bumps as best we can, while still getting a good line through this corner. That was a nice run off of the icy straight, 102 miles an hour, I think, as we left that jump. Get onto the brakes now for the penultimate turn. One more corner to go as we fire it towards the finish line with a bit of oversteer. Oh, that's going to be very close. That's very, very close indeed. It has done it just. Oh. Only just. We did find the 1.1 seconds we needed on that final run. The Nissan will go into 10th place. It does displace that Dodge Charger, but we are talking hundredths of a second in it between them. Well, 300ths of a second, really, between the two cars. Oh, that was tough. I'm surprised in some ways by the performance. Statistically speaking, I was expecting that to be a bit easier from the car, but there we go. That 10th place is still a good result. I mean, it beats the Toyota A86, beats the Datsun, the Mercedes 300 SEL, the Tamo Race Mode. We do, though, lose out, and again, we are only talking fractions, losing out to the BMW 2002 Turbo. We're half a second down on that Jaguar F-Type, considering the F-Type had very, very similar power. I think it had smaller tyres and was about 600-700 pounds heavier than the Nissan. Goes to show just how good handling that Jaguar was, and it certainly made the most of its power. We're a fair bit down on the likes of the Commodore, and I say a fair bit down on the Commodore and the Donkavort, so we're about second down on the Donkavort. This series is proving to be incredibly close with the times, which is always nice to have. This Nissan is, a solid car. A nice car to drive. Felt quick. Felt like a good handling vehicle. Really had to work to get a 58.5 out of it. Really had to work. And it was a very, very fast final run there. But, the car of many engines will just complete what it set out to do. So I guess it's a win-win, really. That, though, is going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.